More alleged Vince McMahon victims are coming forward. Elsewhere, we have all the backstage reaction to the newest WWE title, and a title match has been added to AEW Full Gear. It's all in the wrestling news. Hello everybody, Jack and Ross here with the wrestling news on Monday morning. We're going to start off with the story of more alleged Vince McMahon victims coming forwards, Ross.
Yeah, this comes from some SE Scoops. Grant's lawsuit against the WWE and Vince McMahon has inspired other women in wrestling to come forward with stories of the abuse. There's a direct quote from Callis herself, isn't there, Jack?
Yeah, Ann Callis, one of the attorneys representing Janelle Grant in the civil complaint, says, "I can say generally Janelle has been courageous in speaking out about her situation. Her hope is she is an example to other people who feel that they are not alone and they can speak out themselves, and we have been seeing that. I've had several people contact me and we are vetting and going through that process." I think we knew that the story was, there was going to be many more developments as it was ongoing and everything, and what else we can really say about it.
Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see what happens.
Yeah, that one's a serious one to start off with, obviously, but now we're going to go into the on-screen world of wrestling. The big story coming out of WWE this past weekend was, of course, the unveiling of the new Women's United States Championship on SmackDown.
Does this mean there's going to be an Intercontinental Championship title on Raw?
That's what I was thinking as well, because they like to keep things symmetrical, don't they, on Raw and SmackDown? You'd imagine there would be. Do you think it would just be called the Women's Intercontinental Championship?
You would think so,
yeah.
Based off this US title design. Lazy! That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens tonight. But Fightful have an update on the backstage reaction to the new belt, saying that women's talent that we spoke to did not know about the United States title announcement until the day of. As of now, talent doesn't know if a matching title will be announced for Raw or if they'll be doing a tournament to determine the champion. We're told that they kept the details quiet, but talent previously thought it would maybe be debuted in December or January with Survivor Series so close. Feels very Triple H. He loves surprising the talent sometimes.
And they are getting good at keeping things under wraps over the last couple of years, especially. It does feel few and far between where news from the WWE comes out, whereas stuff from AEW does. There's a mole, yeah. Tony Khan.
And I think, the big one I can think of was when everyone knew that Jacob Fatu was going to be debuting, but instead it was Tonga Loa. And everyone went, oh, they kept that very quiet. Everyone still thought he was contracted to New Japan when that happened.
Let's nail our flags to the mast. Who are going to be the first champions?
Right. Okay.
Quick fire.
Right. The Women's United States Champion, I think, will be... It's hard to do that quick
Naomi,
fire.
I'm going for.
That's a good shout, yeah. She's a workhorse. Are we doing it for Raw as well?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, right.
I'm still waiting for your SmackDown.
Oh, God. The only thing that keeps popping in my head is Tiffany Stratton, even though she's
the
very
briefcase
much
lady.
I know. Candice LeRae. The Poison Pixie.
Scandalous, yes.
The Raw side of things, have you got one?
Have I ever? I can't think of one on the fly. I can think of the women's tag teams on Raw.
Yeah.
I
know it's hard, isn't it?
Shin. Oh, no, she's SmackDown, isn't she? She was in the bin the other week, wasn't she?
She could be a good shout for the United States Championship.
Chelsea Green, is she a Raw lady?
Yeah, that would be good as well.
She was in the bin on SmackDown as well.
They keep flip-flopping over.
Yeah.
I'll go for... No, not Io Sky.
Boring. No. Predictable.
We don't even know if the Raw belt's going to be a thing, but we'll have to wait and see tonight. I'm assuming that they'll unveil it tonight if there's going to be one. If they unveil the one on SmackDown. Now, we recently saw Crown Jewel, of course, which was main evented by Cody Rhodes defeating Gunther to become the first ever Crown Jewel champion, but you don't get to keep the belt. You
get to bring the ring out.
Little ring.
Kiss the ring. Take him out of Ring of Honor 2017.
Now, heading into the show, I remember I was wrong. I definitely thought that the Bloodline match would be headlining because it just felt like such a Triple H main event. Did you think the same?
No.
Fair enough.
No, I didn't.
Fair enough.
Those titles are big and important.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's apparently part of the reason why the Bloodline tag team match didn't main event Crown Jewel. Fightful have said, Sean Ross Sapp was answering a Q&A on Fightful Select, and he said there was a number of reasons why the Bloodline match didn't main event. The booking didn't call for it, as it ended with more of an angle than anything else, with Sami Zayn coming out and accidentally kicking Roman. WWE also wanted to highlight the Crown Jewel Championship after promoting it as a major happening. Closing the show with Cody Rhodes and Liv Morgan as the two champions was important to the relationship that pays WWE a lot of money. And then I think a bit of his own opinion as well. Sean Ross Sapp says, I'm not sure that closing the show with episode 4,398 of the Bloodline does that as much.
Maybe not in Saudi Arabia, just with the deal as he mentions there in his little quote, but on any other show, episode 4,398, the Bloodline story probably would main event.
Yeah, I think it would as well. But I agree with him there, and I think that, you know, the fact that I think they were really pushing those belts at the start of not even the go-home Raw on SmackDown, the start of the whole month's build was those men in suits looking at the belt in the case and going, let's make sure the belt's
I wonder what
safe.
they're up to now.
Those men.
Just sitting at home waiting until next year's show.
The next belt, yeah. Something that's coming up is the return, the revival of Saturday night's main event.
For the first time since the mid-noughties.
On voiceovers and stuff, I always struggle to say Saturday night's main event. It's hard to...
Sat night main event.
Yeah.
That's how Yorkshire people say it.
WWE have sent out an email about the plans for Saturday night's main event, saying we're bringing that old school look and feel to Nassau Coliseum on December 14th for the return of Saturday night's main event. And PW Insider has added a bit more as well.
They have. They said the old school look and feel they are touting as the company will indeed be going old school for the event, not just in the presentation on the NBC broadcast, but also in the setup of the Coliseum itself, which also hosted the very first Saturday night's main event special in the 1980s. The event will feature full arena seating as opposed to a portion of the venue being closed off due to the Titantron staging, usually seen at Raw and SmackDown tapings.
I really like this.
And I hope Lord Alfred Hayes is there, because you can't have no stage and not have Lord Alfred Hayes in the entrance ramp just getting in the way of everybody while trying to do his job.
I think it could be a really good shout. One thing
I thought you were going to say
no, not the Lord Alfred Hayes stuff. I think that as long as it's just confined to one thing, that's absolutely fine. I have the old school look and feel. I really was disappointed when, you know, when the NWA relaunched on YouTube and they had all the 80s look and everything. I thought it was really good, and I was sad when they threw that away. So I'm glad the WWE are doing it now.
Yeah.
That'd be very nice.
They don't even need the Titantrons these days. What did they show? Their name?
Yeah, and sometimes some swirly graphics around it.
Yeah. That doesn't impress me much, let me tell you.
No, like Shania Twain said.
Exactly.
Fair enough. Coming up in January is the big cross-promotional event between, let's try and get all these in one go. New Japan, AEW, CMLL, Ring of Honor, technically, and Stardom. It's Wrestle Dynasty the day after Wrestle Kingdom, so it's going to be on January 5th, 2025. And another match, not a title match, sorry, a match has been added to the show as well.
Bloody Jack Perry's in action, everybody.
The scapegoat.
Big Jack Perry, get your buses out. Do buses go on water? Can they go from America to Japan?
No. They famously don't.
Well, they might be able to. Jack Perry can build his own title belt. He can put some floats on the side of his boat.
That's true.
And sail the seven seas to Japan, where he'll be taking on Yota Tsuji in Wrestle Dynasty. It's a match that I don't know anything about.
It's all right, don't worry. This is because Jack Perry attacked Yota Tsuji at New Japan's Fighting Spirit Unleashed show, which was in Massachusetts recently, issuing a challenge for the show, and New Japan have since made the match official on their Twitter. He then tried to hit Tsuji with a running knee, but Shingo Takagi put a stop to that. It's an interesting one because Jack Perry is being booked as like a very lucky champion. He wins in stupid ways. Shibata pinned himself in a sleeper hold, for example, recently. Yota Tsuji is one of like these hopefully for New Japan, one of these new like future stars that'll carry them into the next generation. And in my opinion, he's the best one of the crop.
You heard it here first. That's undeniable. Breaking news here.
So I'm wondering, will he win because New Japan have kind of earmarked him for future success, or will Jack Perry win because he weasels out of these sort of matches? It's not for the title, crucially. So I think that leans more towards the New Japan man.
Yeah, guess that's why we're tuning in to see who will win.
There's some other matches for Wrestle Dynasty announced already as well. Zack Sabre Jr. versus Ricochet. Tomohiro Ishii will take on the winner of Shingo Takagi versus Konosuke Takeshita the night before. And we'll probably also, we will see the Young Bucks in action. They're announced for the card, but their opponents aren't known yet. And we'll probably also see Kenny Omega versus Gabe Kidd.
That was a fantastic shoot fight backstage. Filmed on a Nokia 3310 if you haven't seen it. It's there's all sorts of bars being thrown, then there's a shoot takedown. Yeah. People are telling him to get off. Gabe, stop, will you? That's what they're saying.
I think it was real.
Oh.
Well, yeah.
Do you really?
No.
Oh.
But it was sort of convincing in the sort of...
Yeah, well, you know it's a work, but it was as real as it could be, if that makes any sense.
It wasn't filmed very professionally. It was like all hectic and chaotic, and there was... I liked how all the cameramen, all the press ran to like, whoa, what's going on here? They didn't try and break it up, though, which is irresponsible of them, I think. But that match hasn't been announced yet. One match that has been announced is another title match added to Full Gear after a heated segment on AEW Collision.
It involves bloody everyone's favourite Jack Perry again, everybody. He'll defend his AEW TNT title against Big Dan Garcia. There's been a few erotic scenes backstage over the last couple of weeks with collars being grabbed and bodies being pushed up against many walls. And now they're going to get the tussle on at Full Gear. I don't know what I'm doing here this morning.
They are going to get the tussle on.
Get the tussle on, everybody.
Let's run down the rest of the matches already announced for Full Gear. 0 Hour will see QT Marshall lose, obviously, against Big Boom.
Yeah, it's up Big Justice.
Big Justice is his
He'll
son.
be there ringside. The Rizzler will be there doing his thing at ringside. Hopefully John Moxley comes down and kills all three of them.
No! This is going to be a big babyface win to get the crowd going on the
Moxley
pre-show.
can put plastic bags over all three of their heads.
No, AJ's going to take QT Marshall to school. I'm genuinely curious to see, because he is a real wrestler.
He'll
AJ.
be fine in there.
Yeah, he'll be all right.
And QT's good.
Of course.
And in fantastic shape.
Elsewhere, we've got Swerve Strickland versus Bobby Lashley, MJF versus Adam Cole or Roddy Strong, or as I think might happen,
both,
maybe
yeah.
both, yeah. The TBS titles on the line, Mercedes Moné versus Chris Statlander. I'm still not... I think they turned her face again too fast, Chris Statlander. It was very strange.
Was the car hit a shoot, though, last week? That's what I want to know.
Oh, I don't know, I need to catch her.
Oh, Mercedes was like, well, Camille ran over Chris Statlander, and Mercedes was like, "Oh, you silly lady." But I think it was for real, you know.
Okay. Like Gabe Kidd versus Kenny Omega's build as well. The AEW World Tag Team titles are on the line. Private Party versus the Outrunners versus 2 more teams to be announced with the ongoing brackets going on. Hangman versus Jay White, a big rematch after Jay White won their first one. And Orange Cassidy trying to save AEW and trying to take the world title from John Moxley.
And also John Moxley trying to save AEW by bringing up Orange Cassidy to his level. But I think Orange Cassidy will fall short.
I think so as well. I think he's just the first of, not many, the first of a few AEW loyalists who'll fall to John Moxley. Do you think Darby will be next, or do you think he'll be the one who beats him?
Darby, yeah. Garcia's in the conversation. I'm just trying to think of all the young whippersnappers who are sort of involved in the periphery of the segments.
Bring back Ricky Starks for it.
Yeah. Well, you can't, no.
Okay.
You can't have him wrestle.
Okay.
I mean, he's fit, he's healthy, he's fantastic, he's good looking. You can't have him wrestle.
No, that's just
Don't
silly.
be silly.
And then why are they so evasive when they get asked what's going on with
I
Ricky
don't
Starks?
know.
I don't
Something
know.
terrible's happened. If you know what it is, let us know in the comments down below.
He's just friends with CM Punk, isn't he? That's why. Thanks very much for watching, and stay tuned to Cultaholic.com for all the ongoing news as well today, and leave your thoughts and opinions in the comments section down below. I've been Jack, this has been Ross, and we'll see you very soon.